Today we are going to learn a few things about the text tool and the blur effect. First, we will look at the difference between an artistic text and paragraph text. Then we'll talk about how to handle overflow from paragraph text. Then I'll show you how to add artistic text to a path. Then lastly, I will show you how to add a few types of blur effects to an image. In fact, we'll talk about three types of blurring: the Gaussian blur, motion blur, and radial blur. So let's start. To create artistic text, you simply select the text tool or press F8 on your keyboard, click on your drawing page, and start typing. This gives us artistic text. To create paragraph text, we select the same text tool, which I have already active, and I click and drag to create a text box in which then I will type my text. Now, one of the major differences between artistic text and paragraph text is that artistic text keeps running and it can go on till it flows off your page. So let's say with hello world, let's copy that and paste. It keeps going and you can literally continue typing. It doesn't wrap around. However, with paragraph text, once it reaches the edge or the boundary of the text box, it automatically wraps around. So this is very useful when you are adding a lot of text to your artwork, such as leaflets or brochures or magazines. Paragraph text is very useful. Artistic text is useful when you want to type a title or a special caption. Yeah, that's when you would use artistic text. Now, another thing about paragraph text is, let's say you have a lot of text which overflows the boundary of your text box. You'll notice this by observing the little placeholder at the bottom center area of the paragraph text box. If there's overflowing text, you see a small triangle inside this placeholder. So I'm going to do that, and you can see our little inverted triangle there, showing that we have more text than what the text box can hold. Now, to handle this, what you can do is to expand the text box, the paragraph text box, to try to so that all of your text displays. However, sometimes this may not be possible, depending on the nature of the design you are doing. For example, if you're designing a brochure or a magazine page where there's limited space for text, and probably you want the text to flow in 2 columns or 3 columns, you could create the additional column or the next column and then make the text overflow into the new column by clicking the placeholder in the center bottom area of the paragraph text box, and immediately you see that the mouse icon has changed, and you move that over the new paragraph text box and simply click, and the rest of the text flows or follows there automatically. Now, if you later on resize the first text box, it automatically flows in to make sure it is totally full, absolutely full, before having the rest moving into the second text box or the second column. Now, another thing to note is with your paragraph text, if you expand or reduce the size of the text box, it simply wraps the text around to fill the box. However, with artistic text, if you expand or click and drag the placeholders, what you have is you increase the size or decrease the size of the text. So that's another difference between artistic text and paragraph text. So now the next thing is to show you how to add text to a path, and I'm going to create a new page on which I will add a big circle, and what we are going to do is to write some text around the circle. So we're going to have some text on the top outer boundary of the circle and at the bottom inner boundary of the circle, and then we can do something also on the sides. I'm going to increase the outline width of the circle so that it's more visible, more solid. And so the easiest way to add artistic text to follow a path or to follow the outline of an object is to type the text separately first, hello world, and I can make it larger if I want. Then you go to the text menu and select fit text to path. Now you'll notice that once your mouse cursor gets close to the path, it gives you a preview of what the text is going to look like if placed there. So I simply click and the text is on the outer boundary of the circle. Now we want to put the next text on the inner side or on the inner boundary of the circle, bottom inner boundary. So I follow the same procedure, go to the text menu, select fix to text, and I bring my text there. However, you notice something, that the text is upside down, and this is the default way in which CorelDraw handles fitting text to path. So in order to have it the correct way, what we'll do is first to place it there, then we flip it over, we invert it vertically and then invert it horizontally. Then we can move it around a bit to position it exactly where we want. Now similarly, we could place the same text on the side of the circle, fit text to path, and then we go there. We have hello world, and we can flip that too if we want vertically, and we see how it looks. It's reversed, and then we flip horizontally, then we have flowing text as we want it. And even after you've added the text to the path, you can increase the size or reduce the size as you want it. Position it any way you want it. You can change the color of the text, as we know, and you can still do other things to the path itself, which in our case is the circle. So basically, this is how to add text to a path. So the last thing we are going to show today is how to blur an image. One would ask, why do we need to blur out an image? Often it's because we want to reduce the amount of detail in the image, perhaps in order to highlight something else in the foreground, such as text. Another reason may be to add certain special effects to the image, such as the effects of motion or speed, or Yeah. So first I would import my image, and the easiest way to do that is to click and drag it onto the drawing page, and I'll keep this for reference. And I'll make a copy of that. I'll make a copy of that so that we can compare, and make copies of those also, so that okay, so I'll just copy and paste that at the bottom, then we can compare. So we're going to keep one original for reference, and then we apply our blurring effects to the other images. So the first one we are going to do is, well, first let me show you what text looks like on such an image. So we have hello world in white, because that seems to be the most logical color to contrast the background and to be a bit legible. Now if we place that text here, we can see that our text is not very legible. It's not easy to read. So in order to make that possible, what we can do is to blur out the background. So I select the image, go to bitmaps menu, and select the Gaussian blur, and that blurs out the background image, and clearly we can see our text standing out. We can regulate the degree of blurring by adjusting the radius here. So as we reduce the radius, we see more detail in the image, and as we increase it, there's less detail in the image. So that's blurring. We say okay. And one thing to note about blurring is that after you blur an image, the actual size or the boundaries of the image increase. So if you still want to have the nice edges, you would probably need to use your eraser to do that, or you probably want to crop the image to get your nice perfect edges. So I do that, and then I press enter. So now I have an image with nice edges and with the text standing out nicely. Now the next blurring effect we're going to look at is the motion blur, and as its name suggests, it gives the effect of motion or movement to the image. And to do that, I select the image, go to the bitmap menu, select blur, and select motion blur, and you can see the image is showing some sort of effect of speed or motion from left to right, and the direction can be adjusted or customized here. So if I want the direction to be vertical, I just move it up 90 degrees, and we can see it looks like someone or something is falling. So the camera that took the image is probably moving up and down, and we can adjust this in any angle we want. This may also suggest rain. It may look as if it's a rainy image or rainy picture. The extent or degree to which the blurring is applied to the image can be adjusted by adjusting the distance. So as we reduce the distance, we see much more detail in the image, and as we increase it, there's less detail in the image. So depending on what you want to use it for, you may select the appropriate degree of blurring by adjusting the distance. So this, for example, suggests rain that is coming in at an angle. So we say okay to apply that. The last blurring effect we are going to look at is radial blur, and radial blur is very similar to motion blur, except that the direction is not in a straight line, it's in a circle. So it gives the effect of circular motion on the image. And to do that, we follow the same procedure. We select the image, we go to the bitmap menu and select radial blur, and we can see there's a blurring on the image that suggests some circular motion. We can adjust the degree of blurring by adjusting the amount here. So as we increase it, we see more blurring. So basically that's it for the text tool and blur effect for today. I hope you try this out, and if you have any questions, you can post them.